Have you ever found yourself in a conversation about to express a thought in English only to feel your mind stall? It's a familiar sensation. The idea is perfectly clear, yet your brain seems to be running on a different operating system, still thinking in your native language. You pause, you search, you hesitate. The words you need are right there, waiting at the tip of your tongue, but they just won't emerge correctly. It's as if the thought is locked behind a door and you can't seem to find the right key. I understand that feeling of being mentally stranded, as do countless others. My name is Jenny, and for more than a decade, I have guided people just like you. My work isn't merely about building English skills, it's about cultivating the calm, confident mindset that allows those skills to flourish. I believe that learning English is not a quest for perfection, but a journey toward becoming more fully yourself in a new language. You study the grammar rules, you memorize vocabulary, and you comprehend what you read, but when the moment comes to speak, your mind either goes utterly blank or, worse, it begins the laborious process of translating every single word from your mother tongue. Suddenly, you're caught in a traffic jam inside your own head. It is in these moments of frustration that a crucial realization dawns. You don't just need to learn English words, you need to start thinking in the language itself. This is the essence of what it means to build your English brain. The myth of the monolingual mind. Let's be clear, developing an English brain does not mean your Vietnamese, Japanese, or Spanish brain vanishes. Instead, it signifies that your mind gradually learns to operate in two languages with a natural ease, eliminating the need to consciously stop, translate, or switch a mental button on and off. Think of it like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, every action is mechanical and deliberate. Place this foot here. Maintain your balance. Push the pedal. Don't fall. You are acutely aware of every component of the process. Then, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. Your body internalizes the rhythm, and conscious thought gives way to instinct. You no longer think about how to ride, you simply ride. This is the feeling of fluency. However, there is a liberating truth that is seldom spoken. You do not need to live in an English-speaking country to cultivate this English mind. You are not required to be a genius, nor do you need a flawless accent or impeccable grammar. The single most important ingredient you need is consistency. It is the practice of welcoming a little bit of English into your life every single day, not just from your mouth, but within your thoughts. So, how does this journey begin? It starts small. You begin by simply noticing how frequently your mind defaults to your native language, and then you gently challenge that habit. For instance, the next time you make a cup of tea, don't just perform the task automatically. Try whispering to yourself, "I'm boiling the water. Now I'm waiting. I'm pouring it into the cup." It might feel silly at first, but this is precisely how the brain forges new pathways. It thrives on repetition, it craves emotional connection, and it needs to hear the sound of your own voice using English, not just passively reading it from a book. Many people operate under the misconception that they will start thinking in English once they become fluent. The reality is the exact opposite. You do not first achieve fluency and then begin to think in English. You must first dare to think in English, even in broken, uncertain baby steps. And then, fluency will follow. One new thought today, two tomorrow, and a new habit by next week. Before long, your brain will no longer ask for permission. It will simply speak English to itself, as if it has always known how. The detour that drains your energy. Let's examine a process we have all experienced. You are engaged in a conversation, and someone poses a simple question. What do you like to do on weekends? Instantly, your mind hears the query and begins to formulate a response in your native language. Then, you embark on a multi-step mental detour. You translate the sentence into English, you double-check the grammar, you worry if it sounds natural, and finally, after a noticeable delay, you might speak. By then, the natural flow of the conversation has been interrupted. You feel frustrated, not because you lack the English knowledge, but because you are trapped in the exhausting cycle of mental translation. Relying on translation is like taking a scenic, roundabout route every time you need to travel. Your destination is to speak English naturally, The direct path is from your thought straight to your English sentence. Instead, you take the long way. Thought to native language, to translation, to grammar check, to speech. This is why it feels so tiring. Your brain feels overloaded because it is performing double the work. It's akin to trying to solve a complex math problem while running a marathon. Of course you get exhausted. Of course you freeze. The problem isn't your English, it's the process. To be fair, translation is not inherently bad. In the beginning, it serves as a crucial bridge when you are just learning the fundamentals. However, it is not a place to live forever. If you must always cross that bridge, your English will forever feel slow and cumbersome, even when your vocabulary is vast. We need to train your brain to bypass the bridge entirely and take the direct route. The good news is that you already know how to do this. Think about it. When you are speaking your native language and you feel angry, do you first translate your feelings before you speak? When you are hungry, do you meticulously plan your sentence in advance? Of course not. You just say it because it is automatic. Your thoughts and your language are seamlessly connected. This is the state we want to achieve with your English. Daily habits to rewire your mind. Building an English brain isn't about studying harder, it's about living differently. Often, it is the smallest, most consistent habits that create the most profound changes. Let me ask you, for how many hours a day do you actually live in English? This doesn't mean just studying or watching a video, but truly allowing English to be a part of your thoughts, your actions, and your day. For most people, the answer is less than 30 minutes. That's perfectly fine. That is our starting point. Here are some simple, powerful habits you can adopt. Narrate your world. As you walk around your home or neighborhood, look at everyday objects and name them in English. Cup, chair, tree, shoes, street, sky. It may sound deceptively simple, but this is the foundational process of how we first learn language. It forges a direct link between words and the world, bypassing the need for translation. Engage in a quiet dialogue. Talk to yourself in simple sentences throughout the day. When you wake up, say, "I'm getting out of bed. I feel sleepy. I need to brush my teeth." While you cook, whisper, "I'm chopping onions. The water is boiling. It smells so good." Don't worry about making mistakes. You are practicing connection, not performance. Keep a tiny English journal. Every night before you sleep, write 1 or 2 sentences about your day. It could be as simple as, "Today was a busy day. I was tired, but I finished my work." Or, "I didn't speak English today. I want to try again tomorrow." The goal is not quantity, but continuity. You are creating a quiet, dedicated space in your mind where English can reside. Listen and imitate. Find slow English podcasts, simple videos, or voice notes. Listen not just for entertainment, but for imitation. Pause the audio and repeat the phrases out loud. Allow the rhythm of the language to enter your system and the tone to shape your breath. Even 5 minutes of this a day can fundamentally shift how your mouth and mind work in unison. Adopt a phrase a day. Choose just one useful phrase and make it your own for the entire day. It could be, "That's interesting, I'm not sure," or "Let's see." Use it in different situations, in your head, out loud when you're alone, or when you're thinking. Over time, these phrases will become automatic, weaving themselves into the fabric of your thoughts. You see, building an English brain is not a dramatic, overnight transformation. It is quiet, slow, and often hidden, like the roots of a great tree growing steadily beneath the ground. Then one day, without warning, you will notice a change. You'll speak without overthinking. You'll understand without translating, and you will smile because you'll know this newfound ease came not from pressure, but from presence. Let emotion be your compass. We often mistakenly believe that to think in English, we need a larger vocabulary, more complex grammar, and more sophisticated sentences, but sometimes what we truly need is not to say more, but to feel more. When a baby learns to speak, she doesn't consult a dictionary. She listens, she observes, and she feels. She sees a dog. A feeling of delight or curiosity wells up inside her. She points, and she says, "Dog?" She says it not because she understands the concept of nouns or categories, but because the feeling of dog is already present within her. The sound simply follows the emotion. Now, imagine yourself standing at a bus stop. It's raining and you're tired. In your native language, a cascade of thoughts might flood your mind. Complaints, memories, metaphors. But in English, perhaps you only have one thought. I don't like this. And guess what? That is more than enough. That sentence, simple, short, and real, is true to your feeling. That is the beginning of fluency. Instead of trying to translate complex feelings into fancy sentences, try matching your English to the feeling itself. When an emotion arises, don't rush to explain it. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what would I say in English if I only had a few words? You'll discover that the answers are always within your reach. I'm happy. This is hard. I don't understand. I feel alone. These are not basic sentences. They are the sound of your real voice learning to speak in a new way. When your language comes from an authentic place, people feel it, even if your grammar is imperfect, because emotion is universal. Try this gentle practice. At the end of each day, sit quietly and ask yourself, what did I feel most strongly today? Describe that moment in simple, honest English, not to impress anyone, but simply to express. I was nervous before the meeting. I felt proud when I helped my friend. I missed my hometown today. This is thinking in English, not by translating or memorizing, but by feeling. The more you allow emotion to guide your English, the more alive your language will become. You stop fearing mistakes because there is no mistake in a true feeling. From practice to presence, living with English, you've learned to stop translating, to start small, and to let your feelings speak before your grammar does. Now, there is one final, profound shift. You stop trying to practice English and you start living with it. This means that English is no longer a separate task on your to-do list, no longer a subject you study in a book. It becomes a quiet rhythm that you carry with you in your thoughts. You start to notice your inner voice changing, not all at once, but gently. One day you'll whisper to yourself, I'm late. Another day you'll read a message and feel the meaning instantly before the act of analysis begins. And one quiet evening, you will sit alone with your thoughts and realize they are not just in your first language anymore. English is there too, not polished or perfect, but present. That presence changes everything. Fluency is not merely about speaking, it is about becoming someone who feels at home in another language. It is about identity. When you live with English daily, you are no longer just learning a skill, you are growing into a new version of yourself. There will be days you feel stuck. Days when your brain wants to retreat to the comfort of what is familiar. That is not a sign of failure. It is a part of the journey. Instead of pushing, try allowing. Instead of chasing fluency, build familiarity. Day by day, English will feel less like a stranger and more like a friend. So tonight, before you go to sleep, say one sentence in English. One honest, present, peaceful sentence. I did my best today. I am learning slowly but surely. I trust my journey. Let that be enough. Because you are enough. Your English brain, your second voice is growing with every breath, every step, and every soft attempt. Keep going. Keep living. Keep thinking in English. And one day, without even trying, you will realize you already are.